Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending this information session. I'm going to keep this hopefully pretty brief. We're going to zoom, no pun intended, this right through. This information session is really designed to give you some fast facts about Binghamton University, to really kind of give you a sense of what life is like here as a student, academically, socially, culturally, and beyond. You'll hear perspectives from one of our current students. And in addition, there are live chat hours available. If you want to speak to a current student, on Wednesdays between 5 and 8, I believe, there will be chat session opportunities for you. And if you want to speak with an admissions counselor, pretty much from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., there is a live chat option where you can actually speak with an admissions counselor, chat with an admissions counselor. So do know that for more specific concerns or questions or things you want to know about after this session, just easily reach out to us whenever you can. So let's get started. Actually, I guess I never even introduced myself. My name is Justin Brim. I'm a counselor here. I have been working at Binghamton for a little over 5 years. I am a graduate of a SUNY, State University of New York College, and I have recruited all across the country. That's one of the really cool things about my work at Binghamton University. What I've been able to do, I've been in admissions a number of years, but being able to recruit students and get to meet students and families and counselors and representatives from all across the country really kind of just, kind of broaden my professional experience, and is one of the reasons why I really enjoy working at Binghamton. I assist with first year and transfer application review. I am one of the admissions liaisons to the Educational Opportunity Program, EOP as it's known as, within New York State, and admissions liaison to programs such as the College of Community and Public Affairs, which you'll learn a little more about later. I'm going to turn over to one of our current students, and she can introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Jackie. So I'm a senior. I'm from Huntington, New York. That's on Long Island. I study chemistry. I do a lot of biochemistry research here, which I could talk a lot about as well. I'm on the Student Conduct Board, which is kind of our judicial system at the school that's run by students with the help of graduate students and faculty. Am I missing anything? I don't know. I think
that's pretty good. It's what you would generally see during an info session. We're going to have this opportunity for you to just kind of give you some fast facts, and then I'll pause the information session in between, and Jackie will be offering some perspectives based on some different slides. So let's begin. Okay. So here's a nice place to start. There's so much to Binghamton University, but I figured we start with a nice, pretty view of our campus. This is not the only part of our campus. We have a number of campuses in our complexes, as far as our ITC, our Innovative Technologies Complex. There you go,
That's
Jackie.
right.
Yep. Plug in the ITC. But what I figure we do is we start with our Vestal Campus. Our Binghamton Vestal Campus is about a mile west of the city of Binghamton. The city of Binghamton is in the southern tier of upstate New York. One really cool thing is, as far as driving or visiting Binghamton, it's a short drive to Binghamton from a number of urban centers throughout the state, whether that be, of course, New York City region, whether that be Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo. And then in addition to that, a number of neighboring states and even our neighboring country of Canada. So it's not anywhere from a 3 to 6 hour radius or so. It's not a long drive from anywhere from Boston to Hartford, or from Hartford to Binghamton, from Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, from Cleveland, Montreal, Toronto, Washington D.C., Baltimore, just scratching the surface. So we just kind of giving you a sense of where a lot of our students are also coming from and are visiting to Binghamton. But yeah, I figured we start there. Nice, beautiful campus, over 900 acres, by the way. We've been tabbed we're known all throughout the world, but as in New York, we're known as the #1 public university. We've been also called a public Ivy. We have, why is that? Binghamton is known for its top tier research. It's known for its development, how students are able to develop academically, professionally, and we are part of the State University of New York. SUNY is the largest university system in the country. Makes up 64 campuses with over 400,000 students studying close to, I believe, 6,000 different certificate and degree programs. Binghamton is one of the central, university centers within SUNY. We have a number of degree programs, and in addition to that, we have a number of opportunities, once again, for top tier research and development. So yeah, if you want to be involved in research, you want to combine maybe biology, geography, or geology, anthropology, or even business into a research or development, you have this opportunity here as these cool looking people walk through the nature preserve. You can be involved in a team that works on the efficiency for, improving solar energy and solar panels, right? This one particular PhD student you see here in this image is speaking with middle school students. And what I wanted to highlight with this is that you'll hear throughout this presentation about the importance of how we connect with the greater Binghamton community and the greater community throughout the state and throughout the country, even outside of the country as well. So we are connecting with civic engagement, service learning opportunities that really span not just on our campus, but outside our campus. You might be involved or really focused on human rights. You might be focused on wanting to, change or improve the world in that aspect, whether it be social justice, human rights. And we have all these opportunities here at Binghamton as well. We have a Human Rights Institute. We actually have a new master's degree in human rights. And we have research where students involved in humanities, social sciences, and are interested in human rights can take a part of. I'm plugging the Source Project here, putting a little plug in there before I talk about it a little more later. So yes, there is so much you can do, but some of you that are listening in might think, well, there's a number of things I want to do, or there's, 1 to 8 different things that I'm interested in. I don't really know how to pare that down or focus on something as a potential major or more. So do know that one of the things that's great about Binghamton is our exploration, our opportunities for you to explore. So as a university center with many comprehensive programs, we encourage exploration. We want you to focus yourself on the many different interests you have. You might want to turn your hobby into a business. You might want to be a doctor or a nurse. You might want to go into another field, a field you never even thought of, and that is all possible here. So let's talk a little about some fast facts as that map pops up and it shows, once again, not too far of a drive for a lot of our students. But we have over 14,000 students as undergraduates, and we have about another 3,000 to 4,000 students as graduate students. So in total, we're looking at around a little over 17,000, close to 18,000 total students at Binghamton. Some of you listening might think that kind of sounds like a large campus. Some of you may listening actually think that sounds like a small campus, and you would all be right. We are known mostly as a mid-sized university. We have big university opportunities, but also somewhat of a smaller campus feel. And I think that's amazing because there's room to breathe here. You want to collect your thoughts. You want to go for a walk or a jog. You want to be a part of a running group or go hiking or once again, go and do research in the nature preserve. That is all possible here. That's where our size comes into play. But in addition, if you want to have somewhat of a smaller campus feel, don't want to feel like you're just a number, you have that here between the collaborations that you have with your faculty and your staff, your peer network. We are not as big as it seems. So big university opportunities, but somewhat of a smaller campus feel. And I'll talk about retention a little later when I talk about value, but that's a nice number. For those who have done research on retention ratios, know Binghamton University is one of the highest retention ratios for public colleges and universities in the country. We are one university. Binghamton is also made, though, of 6 colleges in undergraduate and graduate programs. We have our Harper College of Arts and Sciences. We have our College of Community and Public Affairs. We have our Decker College of Nursing and Health Sciences. And we have our School of Management, our School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, and of course, our Thomas Watson School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. So I wanted to just name all 6 as you see that there, but let me just get into them really quickly. Harper is in many cases our backbone. Everybody takes courses in Harper, and many students will complete a degree program, undergraduate or graduate in Harper. We have students of you who might be undecided will be able to actually take courses in Harper and more than likely complete a degree in that school, for anything from fine arts to humanities to physical social sciences, really just scratching the surface, foreign languages. You also have our College of Community and Public Affairs that has human development and social work as bachelor undergraduate programs, and it can span into many different careers. You're learning about the life cycle of human development and how that applies to many different fields and careers. So It could be anything from working in the public sector in many different disciplines. It could be going to actually work at a college or university. You could go into human services careers. You can go into law, education, law enforcement. There's so much you can do through CCPA. The Decker College of Nursing and Health Sciences has the Decker School of Nursing. I'll highlight here with our BSN program, where you can actually leave with a bachelor's, go right into the workforce. Pretty much job placement is a given with the RN and BSN, but you can go on to graduate programs. You can go into public health. During time here, you can minor in health and wellness studies. You can go into a family nurse practitioner program. And I know you hear more and more of FNPs and family nurse practitioners now more than ever. So this opportunity is here on the graduate level, not just on the undergrad level. The School of Management has business administration and accounting as undergraduate programs. And of course, we do have an MS in accounting and an MBA, Master of Business Administration. But within the two undergraduate programs, you have concentrations in everything from consulting and leadership to marketing and finance to management information systems, you know, being a part of the field that deals with emerging technologies. And that's important. Some of you might be interested in pharmacy, and you know that there is still a national demand for pharmacists, but there's not a lot of schools across the country that offer PharmD programs. So they're pretty selective, but one thing you definitely need to know is Binghamton has, this is our newest school, is our School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. So PharmD programs, including an early assurance program and a PhD in pharmaceutical sciences. And then our engineering programs in the Watson School, and applied sciences like computer science, and everybody that's on the panel can probably attest to this as too. As we read applications, we continue to see more and more applications to computer science. It's one of those fields that continues to grow. The jobs will continue to be there in the next 5, 10, and 20 and beyond years. So it's a discipline that is in heavy, heavy demand. And we are able to meet that demand when it comes to our students and the development that you get here in the computer science program, but also our engineering programs as well. We have 5 on the undergraduate and graduate level. So yes, 1 university, but we are 6 colleges. And this is where the connection with our faculty comes into play. This is what's important. We are, once again, this is where our size comes into play and that we're not too big. Our faculty are here not just for the research opportunities to continue their research or gain new research opportunities, but really to build with our students. And I think this is important because, once again, big university opportunities, but some of a smaller campus feel. And I want to turn to Jackie as I pause here real quick. Jackie, would you like to share a little, perspective maybe about a favorite faculty member or something of the like?
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing research here under Dr. Suzanne Solmaz since the summer after my freshman year. And I think that has 2 prongs to it. So I got to, really get to know my professor. It makes for a great recommendation letter. And it really helped me apply what I learned in the classroom into the lab as well. And being able to collaborate closely with such an intelligent professor was really something that I didn't really expect I would get coming in, especially to sometimes, like Justin said, it could feel like a really big university, but this really made it feel a little smaller to me because I got to have lots of one-on-one attention with her, learn a bunch of different experiments that I wouldn't have learned, in my classes, get really specific into a subject, which is pretty rare, I feel like, for a lot of undergraduate students. Usually do really specific study as a graduate student, but I feel like I know so much about my field in biochemistry and that I really, really got, just so much out of working with her, having weekly meetings with her, learning how to not just be a scientist, but a professional. And she just is so good at what she does. She's like workaholic day and night. So that was
Thank you for that. And you're in the ITC, aren't you, you said?
Yeah, so this is one of the study spaces in the ITC. I study here all the time. This is where all of the, or most of the, I would say, biochemistry, chemistry, engineering research, and physics research labs are. So I love spending my time here.
Thank you for that.
Hey, my name is Eliana Epstein. I'm an environmental studies major. Today I am in the greenhouse at Binghamton University, and I'm going to tell you about my major in 60 seconds. So when I was a freshman, I was very confused about what I wanted to major in. I thought I maybe wanted to be in the business school. It turns out I hated it. I found geography, and through geography, I fell in love with environmental studies. My favorite class so far has been ecological agriculture. My professor has his own farm, so he teaches us in a very hands-on approach. And on Thursday, he's actually bringing in some worms I could take home for my compost bin. Outside of class, I'm involved in Binghamton Food Rescue, which is an organization that reallocates food from supermarkets and farmers markets to people in need within 24 hours. Also next semester I'll be studying sustainability abroad in Costa Rica, which I'm pretty excited about. Something that surprised me about this major was how well I can integrate it into my daily life. I change the kinds of foods I eat and the activities I engage in. In 5 to 10 years, I see myself abroad with a master's degree in public administration, managing a nonprofit that utilizes recycled textiles. And that is environmental studies in 60 seconds.
So we kind of talked a little about some of these programs earlier, but whether it's our honors opportunities, our honors programs, and our Binghamton University scholars, our connection and a partnership with PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, scholars program for our School of Management students, whether it be our first year research opportunities within the SOURCE project, which really focuses on first year research for students that are interested in social sciences, humanities, and beyond. So it could be anything from working on research in human rights, research in environmental sciences and studies. It really just scratches the surface there. And then of course our FRI program as well. FRI is one of only, I believe, 5 in the country. They do pop up a little more, so maybe there's 6 now, but I do know that anywhere between 4 and 6. But our FRI programs, we're the only one in the Northeast that has this opportunity for students within STEM fields to take part in the 3-semester course sequence, which involves pretty much research over the course of your first year and a half at Binghamton. That's just unmatched. You can't find that anywhere. Well, you can find it at 4 to 5 other places, but you have to travel a little farther to do that. So Binghamton's opportunities and first year research immersion, SOURCE project, and then our specific university scholars programs or honors programs, colleges, really do set us apart. This is where students begin to discover opportunities for professional development, research they didn't think was possible. A lot of people think STEM is the only fields that you can do research in, and that's definitely not the case. So while there's research in every major and for every student here, these specific programs allow you students to get a jump on that right away. And I know there are transfer students joining us as well. So you might be thinking, well, first year, I'm already, been at a college or university, and now I'm going to be transferring in and really excited to attend Binghamton. And do know that that's where the undergraduate research comes into play, because the Undergraduate Research Center really has opportunities for you no matter what year you are at Binghamton and where you are in the kind of academic cycle. You will be engaged and already probably thinking about internships, whether it's internships, co-op experiences, experiential learning experiences, service learning, where there are opportunities to engage with the greater Binghamton and greater country and world community through that is as a part of your overall course curriculum. That is part of to do with service learning. And then of course, studying abroad. Studying abroad is so huge here. Part of the reason is because State University of New York, being the largest university system in the country, has the best, study abroad program. There are over 1,000 programs. I was speaking with a student at a college fair, and they asked me, can they study abroad in Sydney, Australia? And I opened the search engine that's available, connected through Binghamton and SUNY, and lo and behold, there's like 28 programs just in Australia. I think about 20 of those were in Sydney or had some kind of component of that experience as a part of Sydney. So you might be wanting to go to a country for the first time. You might be, of course, interested in revisiting a country either you have familial or family roots in, or that you've been to before. So these are all possible through our study abroad program. And that's part of the impact at Binghamton.
So a group of friends, me, my friend Aisha, Acadia, and Liarda, were in contact with this doctor, Dr. Jigisha Chaudhry, and she does a lot of charity work in this region in India called Gujarat, and she has started her own organizations, and she offered us to come on this trip and basically tour all of the orphanages, schools, hospitals, pediatric clinics, and we really got a feel for healthcare in India.
Wave, guys! Wave!
It was so much more hands-on than I ever expected. For example, we volunteered at a child neurodevelopment center, and after shadowing the therapist there, we presented on US treatments for ADHD and speech disorders to the faculty, and they were very receptive. They loved everything we said, and I think it may have made an influence in their daily practice. Coming into the trip, I didn't really have a goal, but I think once I was on the trip, I realized what I was there for. I'm really interested in global health and these big initiatives to basically increase awareness for problems in third world countries that involve medical issues. So being on the trip really opened my eyes to so many of the issues in India that have simple solutions that we can provide. And I realized that there's so much more that I can do, and there's so much potential for me to make a huge impact rather than just practicing medicine. So that's why I'm interested in working with a nonprofit after I graduate.
So part of the development for you academically and pre-professionally is to eventually become one of our over 130,000 alumni all across the world. So there are so many different ways that you can be assisted to develop yourself professionally, to go into the many different careers that await you. One particular alumni I like to highlight here, and some of you actually, I know there's some potential parents and counselors on the session too. So some of you might be alum of Binghamton. Welcome and welcome back. And I want to highlight Adam Fox. I usually like talking about Adam as it shows there toward the top right. He's the section chief of trauma for Rutgers, New Jersey Medical, a political science grad. Because I often get students who ask me, well, I want to do pre-med, or I want to do pre-law, or I want to do a pre-health or a pre-professional program, but I'm not sure what to actually major in. And the answer is, and the professional kind of accrediting bodies of these individual disciplines will speak first about it. They encourage the diversity of disciplines. So they want you to be interested in a lot of different things, because the critical thinking skills, the analytical skills, the writing skills, and everything else that you're going to develop will be transferable to a large number of careers. So as a political science grad, Adam Fox obviously is working in the medical field, is still able to obviously utilize the skills that he developed in that major. So that's where Binghamton once again encourages exploration for you to really develop. And it's not just inside the classroom as well, or focusing just on academics. And I think Jackie attests to this in a few minutes, but our students have a lot of fun. They know that, the courses are rigorous, they're going to be involved in research, and what do they do outside of that? It's about also networking, developing socially too. One of the things that's great about Binghamton is our diversity of things that you can be involved in, and the people you're going to meet and get to know. We have over 450 student-run organizations, and that includes 41 club sports, that includes a large, robust intramural program, our NCAA Division I athletic teams. So there could be academic organizations, cultural and social organizations, Greek life, civic engagement organizations. It really just scratches the surface. Jackie, would you like to take over real quick and maybe talk a little more about what you're involved in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for 2 years, I was a Division I athlete. I was a swimmer, and I decided to terminate that just so I could just focus on my schoolwork, do some other stuff. But since then, I've gotten involved in a number of different things. So one of my favorite things to do is a chemistry outreach program where we go to elementary schools and middle schools and just teach the kids about science, about chemistry. We do lots of experiments, and I just think that that's like a great way to start my day. It's usually early in the morning, and the kids get so excited, and I just love spreading my love for STEM subjects. And then to go back on a little bit about, like pre-law and pre-health and what you should major in, I'm actually going to be attending law school in the fall. So I majored in chemistry all 4 years here. I did research for 3 of them, and I'm involved in all of my STEM things, but I'm also involved in a lot of different law things too. I do the student conduct board, which is kind of like emulates a trial sometimes. I'm also part of the pre-law society. That's probably one of my favorite club or organization I'm a part of, because I always get emails about networking events that we have on campus, and we have a huge network of alumni who are attorneys, and they come on campus to have lunch with us. We have so many events where law schools bring their counselors in and you get to talk to them. We have a law school fair. So that was definitely my favorite organization to be a part of, that introduced me to how I could mix my chemistry background with law, and get to know people that I might be working with one day. And that's all right here on campus. So.
Cool. If you don't mind me asking, because I bet those who come from the different law offices and law schools probably attest this and talk about the diversity of disciplines. What made you find law, or what was your interest in law, but then also kind of merging science with that?
Yeah, so at first I came in pre-health actually, so I could answer lots of pre-health questions, I could answer lots of pre-law questions because I was both. So I first came in wanting to be a doctor. I shadowed a few doctors and it just really wasn't for me. I do my research here and I just didn't really see myself working in a lab. So I kind of looked into other things. One day I stumbled upon an article about patent law and how students with, or people with undergraduate or even graduate degrees in hard sciences are in huge demand for the patent and intellectual property divisions of law. And the more I read about it, the more interested I was, and I realized that that would be the perfect profession for me, because I love to speak publicly. I'm a tour guide. I love to blend my interest of science with analytical thinking, and I don't know, just a lot of things attracted me to it. And so then I started my journey to becoming and getting into law school. So patent attorneys are able to review patents based on chemicals. I'm hoping to do pharmaceutical work or biotechnology work. So it'll be, I'll still get to look at science every day, but just in a different light that I think that I found more interesting for
That's
myself.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We are a diverse campus. The next few slides are really going to highlight, and I like to speak to the diversity at Binghamton, and that takes a number of forms. So of course, it's students who are coming from all across the world. We have representation from all our different states and territories within the United States, in addition to over 100 different countries internationally. So you're going to meet a lot of different types of students at Binghamton, but of course, a person themselves is so much more than maybe just who they look like, right, or where they're coming from. It could be socioeconomic status. It could be meeting students who are first-generation college students. It could be meeting students that not just interested in different disciplines, but maybe even within a certain geographic area are not just maybe coming from large urban centers. Maybe they're coming from smaller towns, right? More rural areas or suburban areas. You have students that are interested in different things socially or culturally. And I think that just adds to the experience at Binghamton. No matter what you look like, no matter what you believe in, who you like, and where you're coming from, you are welcomed, included, and valued here. And I think some of our student resources really speak to that through our Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. It can, as the kind of umbrella for a lot of our different initiatives and opportunities across campus. It can span into our Multicultural Resource Center, our LGBTQ Center, or known as our Q Center, the different events and programming and services that take place there, our accessibility resources, right? So students coming from a number of different backgrounds can take a number of different forms, right? Our tutoring services, our advisement, our critical thinking lab, through our Center for Civic Engagement. Many of you listening are engaged in your communities, right? Whether through your schools or even through your own individual interests outside of your kind of academic environment, you're engaged with your greater community. We read these in the applications, and it's just astonishing to constantly see the engagement that our students, our prospective students have when it comes to engaging with their communities, right? And we take that all into the application and admissions process. It's really good to get a sense of the students that have a number of different things that they're involved in. And of course, our student and scholar services, our international student and scholar services, just kind of, once again, scratching the surface of what you can be involved here in Binghamton. Many of you probably don't think so much about, how does a campus keep me healthy? I don't get that question a lot at college fairs. I don't get emails about it a lot or phone calls. But when, something that I kind of want you to keep in mind, and maybe we're able to speak to this because Binghamton is considered by many different publications as one of the top 20, 25 healthiest colleges in the nation. But when it comes to safety and health, we really do the extra little things to really make sure that this is truly your home away from home, that you are going to be healthy and fit on campus. And that takes a number of forms, right? We're not just talking about our group classes weekly, or we're not talking about just our outdoor pursuits, right? Our hiking, our running trails, our walking trails. We're talking about mental and emotional health, right? Our counseling center has great opportunities for students who just, in many kind of lamest terms, need to talk with somebody. Just need to know that somebody's there to just kind of hear them out, and talk about things that they're kind of concerned about or interested in, and just know that somebody's there for them. And we have that. You may be somebody who has specific dietary accommodations and needs certain dietary needs, and we take care of you in that regard as well. So whether you want to improve your diet or you need specific accommodations for your diet here at Binghamton, we have registered dietitians which can assist you. So, are most campuses and colleges across the country and world are going to keep you safe and healthy? Yes, right? We know that. But you need to know that there are some institutions that kind of go above and beyond, that do a little more, just those extra little things to really just show you that we are committed to your mental, emotional, and physical health. We know that's directly tied to your success as a student. Learn about our residential communities. We have very unique living, learning residential colleges. And I say learning to truly mean it's not just a living environment. There are opportunities to grow and learn in your residential environment and your learning communities here at Binghamton. And they all have their own different feel. So they have their own traditions. They have their own unique kind of settings, in addition to obviously the styles of rooms that are available. And you can obviously see all this on our Residence Life website as well. Several of you who are looking to enroll at Binghamton in the fall of 2020, or the most recent upcoming semester, will probably can definitely do research about the different learning and living environments. Jackie, would you like to talk maybe a little more about the residential communities?
Yeah. So each one of them, I would say, I like to describe to people as having a different vibe. And I think that's kind of the intangible that sadly is hard to tell away from home. Away from here, but we have virtual tours for each one online, and I'm actually the one for College in the Woods. It's me sophomore year giving a tour of my room. But yeah, so I lived in College in the Woods and I loved it there. I loved how central it was to campus. And I loved how, I looked out my window and it was just a bunch of woods, why we call it College in the Woods. And I love living in a suite. I lived there my second year with 5 of my other friends, and my window just looked out to kind of like the middle of campus. And I think once you find a place on campus that you really enjoy, it's just the best experience to live on campus that I always made sure I had gratitude for, because you'll never get to live in a dorm with a bunch of other students ever again in your lifetime. So I think no matter what community you choose, it's just like really exciting to get to meet different people on your floor. Each of the buildings have study rooms, both social and quiet. So sometimes if you don't want to walk to the library, you could either study in your building, which is really nice. And in between all of the communities, we have the dining halls. So there's never a dining hall that's going to be far away from you. Both of the years I lived on campus, freshman and sophomore, the dining hall was literally less than 20 feet from my door, which was both a blessing and a curse. But that was probably one of my favorite things too. About living on campus. There's food right there. Super fun to just grab dinner with your friends, and you could eat at all of the different dining halls. So, even if no matter what community or building you end up living in, you'll probably be all over the place, like visiting different people, in different buildings. So it's kind of it's a nice little community building cluster for your own community, which has its own vibe and activities, but you'll also be visiting other ones. And yeah, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you. You're giving a kind of, you're doing your door spiel, right? Awesome.
I'm Al Voss. I'm an English professor, and then I became the collegiate professor of Hinman College and the organizer of the public service learning community within Hinman. It's important for students to connect their learning in the classroom to the community outside the classroom. And by the community outside the classroom, I'm also thinking about outside campus, the greater Binghamton community, which has lots of organizations where students can learn about civic action, civic engagement, career choices, and the kind of needs that exist out there in society.
I joined the public service learning community when I was standing up for housings for the year. I didn't know what it was about. When I saw the word service, I was really intrigued and I really wanted to know what that community entailed. This community has completely changed my life. I initially came in as a business major and now I'm adding a major of human development because it really studies the change and the challenges faced by humans throughout their lifetime, and I'm really interested in doing that. It feels incredible to donate my time to helping other people, knowing that even if I spend 15 or 20 minutes, it's really impactful to their lives.
What's really cool is, we've talked, and I've talked about the kind of on-campus experience, right? Academically, socially, but there is so much more when you do step off campus. The greater Broome County area, where Binghamton, the city of Binghamton and its surrounding areas, the central hub, is over 200,000 residents. So what you'll often find is when you do step off campus, whether it be concerts or art galleries, food festivals, once again, outdoor pursuits, whether it be hiking and snowboarding and, sports going on, whether it be our minor league baseball and hockey teams, our concert arena. There is a lot happening off campus as well. There will be very recognizable stores and things to do for you that might be similar to the communities you're coming from. But you also have different pursuits that are very unique to Binghamton. And I think so when students they're going to be very active and not bored on campus, but when they do step off campus, it's not something where they're just rushing to get back on campus right away. Whether you live on or off campus, there's so much happening in the greater Binghamton community as well. So I know we talked a lot about on campus, but let's not forget about what happens off campus. And that's where value comes into play. The one current student who you heard the video from about 2 slides ago, she mentioned, I wanted to kind of speak to this really quickly. She's mentioned that she was a business undergraduate student, but then she picked up a degree in human development. And just as you might have a student who was interested in theater that picks up wants to do a program, a master of public administration or something. This is where the value of Binghamton comes into play. So it's not just, for example, the cost. Now, no matter where you're coming from, either throughout New York State, outside of New York State, including outside the country, Binghamton is a great value. We're a great bang for your buck, right? But in addition to that, the value of Binghamton, the return on investment, comes into play in so many regards. I said I was going to speak a little more to retention ratio earlier. So as I said, over 92% as our first to second year retention ratio is way higher than the national average. It's actually one of the highest for public colleges and universities in the country. For our students who would be entering Binghamton from another college or university as transfer students, our transfer retention ratio is also higher than the national average. So this is a place where, in layman's terms, students get the courses that they want, not just the courses that they need, in order to graduate and complete their degrees in a time that is not just kind of feasible for them, but also economically feasible, not just academically, so they can move on to either other degree programs or going into the workforce. But it's also our, like I mentioned, our graduation rate. So you see the 6-year graduation rate, which a lot of 4-year programs with 4-year degrees will offer their 6-year graduation rate. But when this slide first popped up, you saw the 4-year graduation rate at over 70%. Binghamton's over 70% of our 4-year graduation rate is one of the highest, in some measures being amongst the top 10 or 15 in the country for mostly residential public colleges and universities. We're almost 30 points higher than the national average and even higher than that for public colleges if you look up different publications such as the Chronicle of Higher Education. So the value of Binghamton is so much more. Picking up another degree program, right? Taking 2 majors, doing an accelerated program. I highlighted the early assurance program for our pharmacy students earlier, programs where you can get a bachelor's and a master's degree in an accelerated time frame, maybe a 5-year time span. These really speak to the value of Binghamton, how you develop for pre-professional programs and opportunities, and what you do in and outside the classroom. We do have many different ways you can apply to Binghamton. We even have some cases where students will submit a number of different applications for the same semester for the same program. I wouldn't do that per se, but you can apply to Binghamton in a number of different ways, whether through the Common application, the State University of New York application, or the Coalition application. We generally look to or want to see official records of your academic performance. So this would be in the case of first-year students or applicants, your official high school transcripts from the high schools that you've attended. In addition, we want to see standardized test scores. So that could be SAT and or ACT. Now, you don't have to take both tests. We do have some students that take both to see which ones they do better on. One really cool thing about Binghamton is we have an opportunity where you can self-report your standardized test scores. So you can self-report your highest or all the test scores that you want to submit. We usually encourage you to submit all your test scores, and then we can use that in the review process. And then it's not until after you've been admitted, ideally, of course, and then enrolled at Binghamton as a future Bearcat, that you then send in the official test score reports to verify what you had self-reported. Students who are coming from other colleges or universities can send, of course, official transcripts from all the colleges, universities that they've attended previously or currently, and we will review all that in the process. But we do look at supplemental material as well. We will send in a letter of recommendation or two. Students will, of course, submit essays as part of their application and supplemental info. Some of you might add personal statements, additional circumstances. There might be advocacy calls that take place from your school or counselors or representatives. So this is all ways students sending in portfolios, of course, through our different processes, for example, like our special talent process. So this is just really giving you a sense of all the different ways that you can apply to Binghamton and show that you would be a good fit for the university. And we would take that all into account during the admission cycle. Jackie, would you like to kind of end on any specific last things you want to share with any of the hopefully future students at Binghamton?
Well, I hope you choose Binghamton despite not being able to be on campus. But I can tell you I loved it coming to an end in about a month. It's really quite sad because I really loved my time here and I loved all the things I got involved in. I really feel like, this is very cliche, but I feel like a completely different person than I did 4 years ago. And I just found, and I'm in a completely different spot than I thought I was going to be in too. And I just found so many new things that I enjoy. I learned so many things. I've made the greatest friends. And so I really wish you good luck on whatever college you might choose. Hopefully it's Binghamton. Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie. I think you speak to something very, very important. And that's about, no matter where you're coming from, ideally into Binghamton, right? From where you are now in this session, from where you hopefully will be at Binghamton University to the time where you eventually complete your degree or degrees programs, right? You were one student when you entered, and the idea is to be a different person when you leave, when you go into the next stage of your, academic or professional career, right? And that's what's great about Binghamton, these opportunities to help you grow, in ways that you didn't even imagine, things that you're going to find and discover. And that's the fun in it. I really talk to students a lot, and I talk to families a lot about not forgetting about the fun of this process. It could seem nerve-wracking about trying to find the college that's going to be the home away from home from you, whether you live 10 minutes away or you live 10 hours away. But you need to know that that fun is something you can't lose. You want to make sure that you're, knowing that it's actually really cool and fun to kind of discover what could be a potential university or college for you to continue your academic and studies and grow, like I said, culturally, socially, and beyond. So with that, want to just end with one last video.
I came to Binghamton because I knew the biochemistry program would prepare me to become a pharmacist. I stayed because the freshman research immersion program gives me the opportunity to conduct research one-on-one with faculty.
I came to Binghamton University to get a top education at a great value. I stayed because I got to work with brilliant people in so many different activities. I love being involved so much that I even co-developed an app called C-Connect that will help students find events on campus.
I came to Binghamton because of Division I athletics. And I stayed at Binghamton University because it allowed me to combine my passion for both sports and marketing, which ultimately led me to receiving job opportunities from organizations such as the NBA Players Association and Nike.
So once again, as we pause this part of the presentation, one little last thing I'll leave you with will be, once again, for more specific questions, there's a number of opportunities you can connect with us. Please join us for our live chat. You can chat with a current Binghamton student on Wednesdays from 5 to 8 p.m. So they'll be available, and we'll love to hear your questions and inquiries and things you want to know about. And then, of course, you want to speak with an admissions counselor. You want to hear me talk your head off for a little bit or something like that, feel free to do so. We have live chats going on with admissions counselors Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Some of you are like, I'm not getting up at 8:30, but yes, we are available there for you. So please make sure that you connect with us. We'd love to hear your questions and know what you're interested in and ways that you think you're going to, explore and change as a student and as a person during your time in college. For fall 2020, we are financial aid awards have been sent out and will continue to be sent out once students continue to hear decisions about their status of admission to Binghamton. And then definitely reach out to our financial aid office as well. I know they are also having chat and kind of live counselor opportunities where you can connect with a counselor directly through the financial aid office. So definitely please do that if you want to learn more of what hasn't been answered already, of course, in regards to your financial aid. And thank you, everybody, again, and have a great rest of the day. Take care, everyone.